And so he's feeling the same thing, if not greater. But the text says something that's key to where we're going. It says that David strengthened himself. David strengthened himself. Why? Because there's no strength surrounding him. I need for you to understand that there will come moments in your personal journey where you need to be strengthened. You need to be encouraged, but there will be no strengthening or encouragement around you. And so you got to find it from within you. David strengthened himself in the Lord. There's some of you right now waiting on somebody to pat you on the back and tell you it's going to be okay. How that worked for you lately? There comes a point that you grow up and you begin to understand there are moments I've got to stand in the mirror and I've got to talk to myself, pat myself on the back and tell myself it's going to be all right. But it's imperative that you understand that it's a little bit deeper than that, because David doesn't just pat himself on the back. David strengthens himself in the Lord. I got to believe that David began to remind himself. Look at somebody, tell him you got to remind yourself. He began to remind himself of how God brought him through danger seen and unseen time and time again. I got to believe he remembered that God was with me when I was in the field. When everybody forgot about me, God didn't forget about me. I gotta believe that he recalled the first time that Saul tried to kill him, and he said, God was with me. He began to rehearse the acts and the moments of God in his life. He began to remember the God who had been with him, the God who had not forsaken him. And it's at this point of the text that when he begins to strengthen himself in the Lord, that it brings you to the point of the text that I've lifted in your hearing. It declares that he says to the priest, bring me the ephod, because it is the garment of worship. It is a plate in which you take into worship so that you can inquire of the Lord. Put it on pause right there, because I need you to catch it. Watch what the text says. It says that David is going through an unexpected dilemma, one that shakes him to the foundation of his being. But somewhere in the process, he makes up his mind, I can't keep crying. I can't keep having a pity party, but I've got to strengthen myself, and I've got to go have a conversation with God. I got to help you understand. It is here that David understands I've got some decisions to make. I've got some decisions to make, because I'm in a place now that requires me to act. He goes into the presence of God, and when he goes into the presence of God, he goes to inquire of God. It is imperative right here that you understand what it took for him to go in the presence of God. In order to go into the presence of God, he had to master the art of quieting his own soul. He had to quiet his own mind. He had to quiet his own emotions. He had to say, mind, shut up. You will not lead me in this. He had to say, emotions, shut up. You will not lead me in this. I must go into the presence of the Lord. I want somebody to know that for your next level, you got to master the art of quieting your soul. He quiets his soul because he says, I've got to go into the presence of the Lord. For some of you, that's what got you out of the bed on this morning. You said, with what I got on my plate, I can't afford to lay here in the bed. I must go into the presence of the Lord. He decides that I've got to inquire of God. So that we're all on the same page. It's a cute way of saying I've got to pray. It's a cute way of saying that in my moments of calamity, in my moments of crisis, I'm mature enough to understand that communication with God is central. He understands that right now I've got to hear the voice of God, because I need God to guide me. I need God to lead me. I need God to direct me. Bring me the ephod. I must go talk with God. Bible declares he goes into the presence of God, and when he goes into the presence of God, he's not trying to be cute. When he gets his audience with God, he says, God shall I pursue. It amazes me, Bishop, because he understands the value of what he lost. He had to understand the value of it, or he would not have cried to the point of being drained of all of his strength. He understands what he's lost. Now, that's a message all by itself, because the enemy is robbing and snatching some stuff from us, and we ain't got enough sense to understand the value of what we've lost. David understands the value of what he lost, but yet he says, God, I need your guidance. I love them. I want them here, but I won't make a move until you speak. It's right here that David is trying to help us to understand, as a modern day body of believers that are seeking to walk in excellence, that you never go to war without a word. And there are too many of us that are waging wars without a word from God. That there are too many of us that are being driven by our emotions. You go to war because you feel like it. You go to war because it's the mood that you're in. But David declares, I understand what I've lost. I understand the value of it. But God, I dare not move without your direction.